Welcome to Let's Talk About with Lily and Lou, the podcast in which we are going to discuss with you all the things that multidimensional women in the 21st century go through in hopes that we can break some taboos together. But first, every episode, we are going to start with a confession corner because Lou and I have actually never met in real life. We've only ever met over the internet. So we're like modern day priestess. And that's why we are going to do a confession corner with you. Okay, this week I'm going to start off the confession corner. And I can tell that we're both a bit nervous about this episode because today we're talking about consent. And we're going to get through it. Just let me just start with my confession because my confession is a bit like lighthearted, or actually it was quite intense in the moment. I was on my bike the other day and I wanted to cross the street, but I didn't have way. And this other person on the bike came from the left. So which means that he had way. And I thought I could go ahead and like go in front of him because there was enough like time, but I didn't realize that he was on an electric bike and he kind of had to go on his brakes. And then he yelled at me and I yelled back, which is a normal thing here in Amsterdam. People do this all the time. But the person on the other bike was a police officer.
Damn.
So, whoops. You could say that I have a little bit of road rage. Go ahead, tease me with it. But so yeah, I kept biking and then he followed me and stopped me, obviously, and got super angry and then threatened to take me to the station because he's like, if you can have how do you say that? A big mouth. I can have one too. And I was like, well, that is power play. Like you can't do that. That is misuse of your power.
That's not okay.
I didn't say that, obviously, but then I talked him down a little bit and I like used but officer, I'm sorry. And then he let me go.
Little doe eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, tip for everyone in the future, don't yell at police officers in case you didn't know that yet. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Hey.
Yep.
It's my turn, isn't it?
Exactly. It is your turn for a confession.
I feel sick already. Okay, that's great. I had a bit of blowback since the body count episodes, and I actually have been I had 2 pretty bad experiences in the last 6 months, and so I've been questioning a lot of my past experiences since then, and realizing that I'm going to read because it's going to be easier for me to express myself.
Of course.
Out of my 10 years of being sexually active, I can't like look back and feel at peace with any of them. The last 2 were like the last straw, and like whether it's not wanting to wear a condom and pressuring me or telling me it wouldn't feel as good for them, thinking that agreeing to cuddles or like a sleepover with a clear disclaimer that there would be nothing else happening meant that I was naive, as I was told to my face, and that I wanted it, or I had implied that it was going to happen. That a simple no, I don't want to have sex with you meant, okay, I will try and convince you until you do, until you give in. Or that being drunk meant I was easy and open for business, and so many more. How sad is it that like most, I'm not saying all, but most men don't know what consent actually means, which has been normalized by our society. And this is not a feel sorry, whatever, but I'm not a victim. I'll never allow this to rule my life. And so in last episode, I talked about keeping a list, a little black book, because I said, it's my memories. I look back and I'm like, oh, I had fun there. And I actually created my whole platform through being sexually liberated, because it would have been so much more nice if that's what it was, but it wasn't. And like, I feel like I've been used, and like 95% of the people on this list are actually not fully consensual. And so I'm going to burn the fuck out of that list, and I'm going to do that right now because it's a full moon tomorrow, and it's going to be nice to like just step into something new and let it go, so I don't feel like puking or anything like that. Because when I came to Australia,
Oh my God, don't burn the
I
house down, please.
I'm gonna try not to. Hopefully, I
You
told my
might set up
housemate
the
that
fire
if there's
alarm.
something with the fire alarm, she's gonna get
So yeah, for
that.
the
But
people
like
listening,
this is
she is now
happening.
burning it. She is now burning it. I repeat, there's a fire in the house. There's a
It's my
fire.
thing. If people know
Actually,
me a
yeah,
little, they know that's my thing. I just do that.
exactly.
But yeah,
You do this
just
more
like
often.
um
I love that.
yeah, I actually can't believe how I made myself think that, yeah, I was happy with that. Just like,
This is so
yeah,
good. This is like a clean slate. And also, kind of what for the people who haven't listened to our previous episode yet, we were talking about body count. And in that episode, Lou told us that she was keeping a list. And we also talked about what we should be counting instead of like what do you put on the list? Do you put like just penetrative sex on the list? And for a lot of people, that is the case. They do, and all the other
that
stuff
was
they
the
don't
case.
count. And we, at the end of the episode, so we talked about instead of putting that on the list, just putting the experiences that you want to remember on the list. Oh my God, the flame is so high. I can barely concentrate on what
That's because it needed to go.
exactly.
Actually, it
All the
feels probably
bad
quite
energy needs to.
liberating. Yeah.
That is
Okay, that's
nice.
good. But yeah, it's
I'm happy for you. That's a good
I'm happy as
confession.
well. And this is for anyone that also like any women or anyone, because it's not just women, it's men as well. And I know this, like consent
Mhm.
is like
Yeah,
affects everyone. But anyone that feels alone, misunderstood, or like feels like puking when we're playing certain events, like
yeah,
start taking responsibility and learning what it means, because yeah, it
exactly.
affects in many
You
ways, and we pretend that we're okay with it to make it okay.
and also I feel like if you don't like actually look at your experiences in like a healthy way, that you're just going to repeat the pattern. Like you just feel like you're trapped in this, I'm the victim of the things that happen to me. But there's, I'm not victim shaming right now, but like if you don't recognize how bad it is that the things that happen to you, you can't make sure to like point out, I do not want that anymore. um
Yeah.
and I think that this is the perfect start to that.
Yeah, it is.
Love it. So yeah, in this episode, we're gonna we had difficulty finding a way to structure this because
Because there's
consent
so
is
many
such a
nuances.
big, exactly, it's such a big thing. But we're gonna try and make it easy, or not easy for us, because we're gonna talk about some heavy shit. So please be respectful of that. Please, also when you comment, when you talk to us, like just be respectful of the things that we share, because it is hard to share stuff like this out into the open. But I just
Yeah,
want people to learn from our experiences, and I want to women to feel less alone, and for men to learn
exactly.
how things that most men do, and I'm not talking about rape, but most men do when they sleep with women,
Without knowing it's wrong.
without knowing it's wrong. So I would love for them to listen to this and realize, oh, I might be doing that, and then change it, because that's how simple it is. Change it.
Education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we
And a
are
lot
going
of
to,
us actually don't talk about, like, a lot of people don't talk
exactly.
about these experiences and live
Yes,
about, like, live with it their whole life. So please be nice, because it's putting ourselves out there, and it's
exactly.
not, again, if
Yes.
PD party post like a podcast, but
Yeah.
it is not easy.
Yeah.
So
And I'm going to start off real quick with something that I read the other day, which I'm going to read it aloud. Patriarchy teaches us that sex for women is a giveaway, while for men it is a takeaway. She saves herself, gives herself to the right one, and then her virginity is lost. In this equation, there is nothing in sex that's for her to take, whereas he takes and he scores, and there's nothing in sex for him to give. And when her mind is programmed to give, she struggles to say no. When his mind is programmed to take, he struggles to accept no. And I feel like in that light, it is super hard for women to open up about it, and also for other people to accept that she said no. So a lot of people will say like, oh, is that real? I'm actually reading Men Who Hate Women right now, the book. And she
oh,
Yeah,
Interesting.
she said something like, or she shows you the real statistics of how likely it is for women to make a fake rape allegation, and I'm gonna put it in the show
Yeah.
notes because like it is so
Please
extremely
do.
low that I can't remember it by heart right now, but like I'll put it in the show notes. It is
Yeah.
so extremely low, but still it has taken on this idea of its own on the internet. That's what happens all the time, but it really isn't, because most women I know have been either raped or sexually assaulted.
Every woman I know.
Exactly. And most have never talked about it in public. So keep that in
Some
mind
of
while
them
listening to
didn't even
this.
realize. Sometimes there's
Exactly.
like a
Yeah.
weird feeling, but you're just like, oh no, I
Mm,
wanted it, or like
yeah,
that's not.
exactly.
Yeah, I
I might
misread
have given
it.
off the
That's
wrong
not.
vibe or blah blah blah. Exactly. So
That's my fault.
we're gonna kind of make it a pyramid, because we're gonna start with the worst. We're gonna start with rape. Then we are gonna start with sexual assault, or we're gonna move on to sexual assault, and then we are gonna end with sexual harassment in the light of consent.
Mm-mm.
Um, so yeah, let's just go, because my story is going to
Let's do
be
it.
the exactly my story is
You
going to be
got
the rape
this.
story. Yes, got this. When I lived in New York, which is a couple of years ago, I went on a date with someone, and it was a first date, and we talked about all sorts of stuff, and it was fun. So I went to his apartment with him, but after that, I had to go to work, so I couldn't like stay the whole night. It was like 6 p.m. or something, so it was during the day. And I went to his house with him, and we just talked some more. And then at some point, we started kissing. And from there, like I can't really remember how it happened, but just from there, it escalated real quick. And it escalated into like him forcing me, holding me down, and actually me saying no, like, I don't want this, but him kind of acting like it was like, oh no, but this is rough sex. Like I enjoy rough
Yeah.
sex, and like I'm holding you down, and you said no, but you want it. And yeah, then he
Uh,
raped me without a condom, because obviously that was not talked about. And I said no, I said no, I said no, like multiple times. And then eventually, when it was over, I left, and it wasn't even, I think it was like 9 p.m. And I lived in New York by myself, or like I was there alone. So I called my sister, and I was like, what the fuck? I was all not realizing what had happened. Like I was a little bit giggly. I like called her saying like, what the fuck?
I
Like
can. Yeah, I was
this
the
was
same.
so
Yeah.
strange. Like this guy thinking like, okay, yeah, he was into BDSM, like, and this is what it means to be into BDSM, like, which I now know is absolute bollocks. Like that is
Mm.
absolutely not what BDSM is. BDSM is so centered around consent that this is just a
Yeah, safe
disgrace to
words and all that stuff. Like you're following
exactly.
it.
This is just a
Exactly.
disgrace to even
Yeah, I
say
read about
or
that.
to even link it to that. So I'm sorry. I know that this is not BDSM, but so I call my sister being all giggly and like, oh yeah, what the fuck just happened? And he had told me like, okay, he was kind of like, I'm dominant and you're submissive, kind of that way. And he went, before I left, he was like, yeah, you are going to send me, I've actually never said this out loud, this part of it, you're going to send me all the fantasies that you have with me, and you're going to do that before like tomorrow noon or something. And like he kind of
It's like a weird 50 Shade of Grey complex or
exactly,
something.
you're going to tell me that.
Minus
And like
consent.
then when I was home, he messaged, or like I think the next day when I didn't like message him, because I didn't know why, but I was just so repelled against this. I was like, at the time I didn't believe I was raped. I was just
You
like,
don't
this
feel
was just
violated. You try to find ways to be okay with it because it's so
exactly, it was just like,
surreal
oh,
that
this
this could
was
have happened
weird,
to you.
okay. Yeah. And then I didn't message him, obviously, and he messaged me saying like, hey, why didn't you message me? And I just ignored it completely. And I knew that he worked at a club.
Good
I
on
never
you.
went there again because I just couldn't make myself. And then obviously when I got back to Amsterdam, I lived in New York for 4 months. I got back to Amsterdam and I went to get myself checked for an STD because he hadn't used a condom. And I didn't know this guy. Like I didn't know if he did this.
Responsible.
Exactly. So I went to the clinic here and I told my story. Um, and the lady was like, well, you know that was rape, right? And I was like, what? Nah. And she's like, but you said no. You clearly said the word no. And even if you didn't, like, still it can be rape. But in this case, it's like clear as day, you said no. And
No.
I was like, okay, well, it doesn't feel that way. That's literally what I told her. I got checked, everything was fine. And she was like, okay, but if you ever
Thank
do
God.
start, yeah, thank God. If you ever do start feeling that way, then you can always come back. So they were super nice. Just want to like point that out. So yeah, I think that most people, unlike myself, will recognize that this experience was 100% rape because I said no.
100%. 100%.
Exactly.
Every experience is valid. It's just that the words
Yeah.
they put around it aren't always like,
Yeah.
because there's so many nuances, but
Yeah.
that was not okay. That was not okay.
Exactly. So
I'm
we
sorry you
just
went
wanted
through
to
that
start.
as well.
Yeah, thank you, but it's a long time ago. I'm okay with. I've come to
You
peace with it.
seem, yeah, way more okay than I am listening
It took
to
a while.
it.
So like I'm not gonna lie, the first like 2 or 3 years after it happened, I never really thought about it again, or like I just put it deep in the back of my mind, and I didn't really think about it. There was one instance where I had sex with someone else and it flashed into my mind and I like got out. That was the only time I got reminded to it. Like I felt like something happened in the way I was having sex with that guy that it just reminded me of that. And I just like, I immediately stopped and I was like, I have to go home. And I never saw that guy again, which was so sad for this guy because he was really nice. But
it
like
happens because
it
it's
happened.
trauma.
Exactly. So
Stored in the body.
that's the only time like that flashback came. And then afterwards, I was just super okay with it. But then when I encountered, and we're going to get into this a little bit later because that's the consent part. When I encountered someone who was actually so mindful of my consent and made sure that like he really respected what I wanted, that was when it all came flooding back. I was like, but okay, this is how it should be, and this is how it was in the past.
That's the worst.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that a little bit later because I think we're now going to move on just to show you guys the different ways of how consent can be overridden by people and how they can like kind of make it seem like it's consensual, but it isn't. So for this one, we all know that it wasn't. We're now going to move on to sexual assault. And Lou, that is your story. I don't want that.
Cool.
So, for the people who are not watching, that was the most painful laugh ever.
Just took a drink as well. Anyway,
I was like, yeah.
My thing is, it was more recent, and I haven't dealt with it properly. So, even talking about it, I just updated you before we started the podcast, and it was very weird. So I basically had two bad experiences in the last 6 months, and more recent one. I'm calling him the predator, according to my friends, because when I told them about it, I was giggly and like, yeah, this happened, blah blah blah, and they were like, this was not okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So this, I don't know, this guy tracks me down on Facebook, kind of wants to catch up, invites himself to my house. I'm like, I don't invite strangers in my house. And I was like, oh, but we met before, we saw each other from far away at a party. So he's like, okay, cool, let's go. I need to buy some jeans. Do you want to come with me? Albert Town, blah, blah, blah. Somewhere like a shopping center, in the Gold Coast. And so he comes to pick me up. I'm like, well, that's quite nice. Sounds like a bit of a date. Let's see. Starts in the car by saying like, oh, hang on. So you're a stripper. So you're not afraid of like being naked in front of strangers, but you didn't want to invite someone you already know into your house. I don't know you. What the fuck? And then my friend with his like girlfriend and stuff, she was posting sexy pictures on Instagram. I don't think you should show your body to anyone else than your partner, and like a bit of like an ownership trophy thing. And I was just like, where the fuck? Where did I step into? Like, how do I jump out of this car? I'm fucked. Like, I'm on the way to this thing. What am I doing? I'm never gonna see this. I already knew I was never gonna see this dude again. I was not in a great place mentally at the time, as well. So I was kind of just confused and going with the flow, but very how do I deal with the situation? We're not taught to deal with these situations. And so we go to this place where he just wants to buy some stuff, it's sponsored or whatever. So he starts grabbing things everywhere. And like, he just grabs my ass and starts kissing me. I'm like, met you like an hour ago. What the fuck is happening? Like, it just happened. It's like, and he acts like the man, you know, like macho man. Like I know you want it kind of thing. So I'm just going to go and get it. And I don't know how to react. I'm going to pretend that I'm just like, I can't wait to go home kind of thing and get out of there. Turns out it was his birthday the next day. He had a birthday dinner that night, and he was shopping for an outfit for that night as well. And I made a joke about some like a weird, funny outfit, like mix and match stuff. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll buy this and wear it if you come. I just met you. You're inviting me to your birthday party dinner tonight with your friends and stuff. What? It's like, yeah, you should come. We shake hands on it or whatever. And then as he drives me back, he's like, oh, we can change at your house. And then like, we'll go to the dinner and stuff. And just, what the fuck is going on? Like, okay.
You're like, sure.
And as we're in the car, he's kind of like, oh, I think I'm going to have a few drinks. I'm like, I'm going to gym tomorrow morning. Like, I'll leave after like quite early. It's like, oh, like, can you maybe drive my car? I'm like, well, you're planning to stay in my house because he has a housemate or something, or he's from Sydney. He was staying somewhere. I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, weird story. And kind of starts inviting himself to my place. I'm like, nothing's going to happen. I just met you. I'm not into that. I don't want to have sex with you on the first night. Like, we'll see if we like get along, which we didn't. So I knew I was going to see him again. That was me saying it's not going to happen because like our values are very different. And he's like, yeah, like, I mean, there's obviously attraction there. So if you wanted to, like, of course I'd be happy to, but like, I respect that. Nothing, like, you're good. That's fine. So we go in my house and it changes and I like get my stuff as well. And then he comes to kiss me and starts grabbing me. And I'm like, we're not doing anything. It's like, oh, I have a boner, like blah, blah, blah. Starts picking me up and throwing me on the bed. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I said no. What the hell? I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm getting too into details because I'm reliving it. I'm sorry. But yeah, like basically.
No, that's okay.
Throwing me on the bed or whatever. And then basically has sex with me. Like, whatever. And we go to his birthday party and he had talked about like being checked before and stuff like that. Cause we did use a condom the first time. And then just like, like I'm clean. So it's only if you're clean. And I'm like, look, I haven't been checked in a minute. I was seeing someone I don't know, like whatever. Like, I want to use a condom. I'm not comfortable with you, obviously. Exactly. I just don't know how to get out of this situation. Like, how do I get out of this? Like, how should I have pushed him? Like, I'm alone in my house. My housemate wasn't there. How do I deal with this? I end up going to this birthday party, lasts way too long. And then when he drives us home, or like his friend drives us home, I can't remember either. Oh no, he left his car at my house, so he was stuck here anyway. And his friend drove us back to mine, so that like I was stuck. And it's like, yeah, like it's my birthday anyway. Like, let's just like have sex again. I was so tired. They're just like, no. But anyway, this happens again, and I'm like, grab a condom. And so he grabs it, starts opening it, and he's like, I thought we just had this chat, and like if you're clean and I'm clean, then it's fine. Threw the condom off the floor, and without my consent, just kind of started having sex with me. And so from there, I'm going to sleep on my side of the bed. Like, I can't wait for this guy to just fuck off my house. Like, I just felt like disgusting. And like, you feel guilty as well. You're like, how do I push him off? Like, what do I do? Like, am I risking something? He had a temper, and he actually almost got in a fight after his dinner party with someone else and stuff. So I was not feeling very safe at all. And he wakes me up in the middle of the night because he's horny. And I'm like, look, I'm going to the gym in the morning. Like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And he's
just
like,
leave.
Oh, just don't. You don't need to do anything. I'll be 2 minutes. I'll just come on your back. It's fine. And I'm like, oh, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Anyway, that feels actually weird to talk about. I wasn't sure I was going to talk about this, but yeah. The next morning when I woke up, I was going to go to the gym. He was meant to leave, and then he keeps on sleeping, and I didn't know how to get rid of him. And I start messaging my best friend and just be like, or like Kel, never my housemate, and just like, how do you get rid of someone that's in your bed? Like we have money in the house as well, and just like, I don't want to leave him here, but I can't, like. And I pretended that I had like a breakfast or something the next day, and like would come home late and he would be stuck and stuff. And yeah, anyway, I ended up managing to get him out of the house, and then he did message me again. He wanted to see me again. He had no idea that, like, how violated I felt. And he forgot his glasses as well, because he had put them in my bag, like just funny sunglasses or something, the night before. I was just like, fucking hell, like, you really don't need them. I don't want to see you again. Then he pretended that he wanted to see me again. Like, when are you free? I'll just pick up the glasses. I said to him, look, I think we're done. Like, I'm done. I don't like want to see you again. And I don't ghost people. I'm just being nice. I just, why am I still being nice? I don't know. Just fucking pushover thing. And
no,
he got.
Don't say that about yourself.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of sometimes, I guess, a little bit, but yeah. He was pretending to be busy. I was like, look, I'm going to be out of the house. I'm leaving them on the letterbox. You can come pick them up whenever. Reception knows it's there.
That's
Reception was like, what does he look like? You don't trust him to like pick up the thing? I'm like,
no,
I don't know this guy. Like, no,
he's a freaking asshole.
Like, is a predator. That's what it is. Like, I don't even, because he had no idea. He thought what he was doing was right. And I think that's the worst. He felt like someone old school that thought that he was doing the right thing because I wanted it. And I never did. I never did. From the second I stepped in that fucking car, I knew that I didn't want anything. And I did not know how to get out of this situation. I was alone at home. Like, do you message someone? Do you push them? Do you call something? It just got
and
very overwhelming.
That also goes back to the thing that I just read out loud, saying like women are programmed to give and men are programmed to take. And not all men in this case, but like men like this, and a lot of men think like they need to be the dominant one and need to like I'm going to be confident,
like seduce you, like
exactly, seduce you and be confident. But what we've just heard, like this story, it is not uncommon. Like, for the people who listen, I've been through stories like this more than I dare to admit. And
likewise,
not all as bad. Absolutely not all as bad, but they are there. Like, a lot are there. And I feel like that is the thing we need to like uncover here. Like, especially these stories are the most dangerous ones, because these are the men that do not feel like
they don't know they're doing something wrong. They don't know.
So
he's going to do it again.
Exactly. And
100%.
Not using a condom when someone says you need to use a condom is rape. Just to make sure that we all know that is rape. So in this case, like, a lot of men won't think that is bad, or think that is sexual assault or rape or whatever, but it is. So just to like show in this story, I hope that we can show with this story that this is the kind of stories that we're talking about.
So that's the kind of stories where there's nuances, and it's like, where is the line? Because no one is taught about consent. So do you accept stuff that you're not meant to accept, or do you need to stop in the moment and teach things, even though it's a mood killer? But it's like that women don't. Oh, You Pretty book I've been reading, like, she literally has like 2 or 3 chapters on that, like rape culture and all that. So it's like, you know what's a mood killer? Being sexually assaulted. And then carrying that for the rest of your life, because that's what it is. You carry it in your relationships. And I had exactly the same as you, which I completely was like, I hate men. I left it, and then I started seeing someone I really liked, and there's one time that kind of came over late, and I felt a little bit like a booty call thing, and just the way that it ended reminded me of this, and I could not stop thinking about it. I just felt like I was being used, and like this, the same as this guy.
So then the third thing, because we're gonna go like downwards with the like in severity, and the third thing is sexual harassment, because we are going to come to the consent part after we've like given you the three nuances or not. Yeah. Three different
Actually, I did want
scenarios.
to, whether you want to do it now or later, but I did want to read the rules of sex. I told you earlier about the book that were in the book. I don't know if you want to do it now or later.
Oh, we'll do it when we talk about the consent.
The consent thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So let's first move on to sexual harassment, and that's my story, or going to be my story. The other day, I was walking here in Amsterdam, and I don't know what it was. Maybe there was something in the air, but I can't even count the amounts of times that I was catcalled, followed on bikes, and yelled at, and
what?
yeah, like I
I
was
was
just
gonna make a
walking.
joke, but
No, like I was just walking and
that threw
guys
me
would
off.
just like stop next to me with their on their bike or like keep biking behind me or like turned around, stuff like that. It happened at least like 10 times in the like 30 minutes I went for a walk. And I went into the park and then there was this group of guys, like I think there was like 5 guys sitting there, and I walked past and one of them said, "Oh yeah, you look really good when you walk," something like that. And I was like, "What
Why did I
the
say
fuck?"
that?
I didn't say anything. Like I always pretend that I don't speak Dutch because this was in Dutch. I always pretend like I only speak English when people try to talk to me in Dutch.
That's
And
cool.
I'm like,
I
I
like
don't
that. That's
understand you.
smart.
I
I
don't
got
understand
it's
you.
good idea for the
And then so I didn't say anything. And then instead of
yeah.
just letting it go, because that's already bad enough as it is, I think his turned out his cousin was like, hello, my cousin is talking to you. And I was like, what the fuck?
The
So
audacity.
it is the audacity for
What?
me.
This is gonna make me feel better. A bit of fire. Cool.
Exactly.
What the
Like,
fuck?
No, like I didn't end up saying anything because I wasn't in the headspace
Yeah.
to, but just to portray that, like, imagine a group of girls sitting in the park with like 5 or 6 girls, and there's this one guy walking past, and we start yelling at him, saying like, "Oh, I love how you walk. Let's see that booty bounce." Like,
Hey
oh
boy, you're fine.
you're fine. How ridiculous does that sound? Like, so why is it not ridiculous the other way around? And how does this relate to consent? I did never give my consent for them to yell at me, to objectify me, to talk about my body, to to start
We do
talking
not
to me like that.
dress for them. We do not
Exactly.
walk or
Exactly.
dress or act in life for anyone else but ourselves.
Exactly.
Like, it's like when they say like, but what was she wearing though? I'm sorry, what?
Why
That's
does it
not
matter?
consent.
Exactly. Why does
Yes.
that matter? She didn't like, and people are gonna now stop, but how can you start talking to someone? And I'm honestly don't, like, unless you have like had some sort of connection, like as in eye contact a few times. But if someone's just randomly walking past you, don't start yelling at them. Don't follow them. Don't
Yeah.
run up to them. I promise they are not your soulmate. Like, you'll find someone, like, they are not. It was not meant to be. That's just how simple it is.
That one hit me. Oh, nice.
That is just how simple it is. They are not your soulmate. Let them walk. Let them feel safe.
I think I saw a funny TikTok this week or something where the girl was running like sports bra leggings, and it's like they put it like, obviously it's not real, but like the guy's a construction worker or something, and like he sees this chick coming. It's like, hey, were you the one that onked me like a couple a couple kilometers ago? And he's like, maybe. Like, okay, do you want to go on a date or like do something? And it's like, oh, I don't know, I just meant like as a like an appreciation or something. It's like, what? I can't believe you did. And just like, yeah, like, you don't even remember me? I can't believe you did this. Like, this is so like giving me false hope or something like that. And she goes back to,
and not only that, I think that is
way.
a good portrayal
of
how it's different for men and women. So like, yes, the men who do that then move on with their lives. But for women, that is a significant part of how they feel unsafe, because like, not all catcalls, but a lot of catcalls can result in aggressive behavior if you don't reply. So like this guy saying, my cousin is talking to you, that wasn't aggressive yet, but it could have been, like, and there have been situations where stuff like that did turn out to be aggressive. Like,
I've
people actually
when I was younger as well. You probably did too. When you start walking faster, or like, I remember when I finished high school. So like I'm underage at that time. Like those 3 years I was taking the bus and I was living about 500, like 1 or 2 kilometers away from home. I would run from my bus stop to my house as a way to get some exercise, but really make sure at night time that I wasn't like being followed or anything. So I have my backpack like from high school and I'm literally running home because there's dodgy people in the bus or whatever looking at you funny. And it's like, and it's accepted. Like the boys will be boys culture, rape culture. Like it's just like, that's just how it is. So let's just make sure that the women are being careful to dress more or run home, whatever they can do to hide themselves and repress themselves so that they don't get attention, because obviously anything that they do is for attention. And it means yes. Exactly. Guys, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. And if it's a fuck yes, you will know it is. She will tell you. In between. There is, And if it's a no, it's not try and convince me. Yeah. And like, grab me, pull my pennies or try taking off my clothes. Like it's a no.
Exactly. And if she wants to be, if she flirt, like you can flirt with someone without wanting to rip their clothes off, you know, like I think we need to start learning that nuances in it. And that absolutely starts with stop telling boys that they will be boys, because no, they will be held accountable.
And I think it's from the movies as well. Movies like 50 Shades of Grey or things like this, when it's like, I'm going to pin you against the wall. And like, I think that's hot too. That, like, sure, carry me against the wall. But if I give you my consent,
we are going to do a full episode on that one, because 50 Shades of Grey, I had never seen it until like a few weeks ago, and literally it's full of assault. It is full of sexual, like it's rape,
I can't
assault,
remember.
Like,
I don't think
it is the worst. We are going to watch that movie and then we're going to do an episode on it. But okay, so now we've done the 3 different nuances of where consent was lost and was not given, was lost or not given, either.
There's another one, by the way, I want to quickly add on that because I think it goes in like the nuances and stuff. Filming. Filming someone against their consent. Because you're together or you're in a relationship or you're drunk or whatever that stuff is, that's a no. If someone didn't give you their consent, you're not filming, okay?
Yes, you're not filming, yes. So that is a good one to add to the list, just to make sure for the people in the back that they know that is a big fat no. Okay, so what is consent?
Actually, do you remember? Oh, I mean, I can say it at the end. That's cool. Yeah, what is consent?
Consent, in my opinion, is where both parties are fully aware of the things that are happening, are both fully aligned with what's happening, both want the things that are happening, and are not forced into things that they are not comfortable with. That can be anything. All related to, in this case, all related to sex, but obviously you can also give your consent to go on a date or your consent to walk to the supermarket together. But in this case, related to sex or sexual acts or kissing or whatever.
Making sure both partners are comfortable in every way at every time.
Exactly. At every time. That's a very important one to add, because I feel like,
because people change. Like, it's just like it. Well, actually, I'll jump in the rules of sex now, because then that's in there as well.
Yeah.
And it's like asking before doing something new or progressing. Make sure you want to have intercourse that your partner want to have it with you too. If someone is asleep, unconscious or drunk or high, they cannot consent to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Check in with someone every time you start a new sexual activity, whether it's going from oral sex to penetrative sex or even switching up positions. Because some people are like going to hurt from a position to another, for example. So don't just like assume, oh, okay, we're going to go from doggy to whatever. I can't remember, military, whatever. Consenting to sex in the past or being
missionary,
in a relationship,
I think. I was like, what do you mean with military?
Why am I saying military? I can't believe I did this.
I love that.
Sorry. Yes. Let me go back, get my consenting.
Let me get my cool on.
To sex in the past or being in a relationship with someone does not automatically mean consent in the future. Just because you've had sex in the past, you can't be like, hey, I'm actually really horny. It's going to happen. It's like, no, there's two people. She's tired or he's tired, because it happens both ways. Like, so we're going to get some fucking comments of it happens both ways. Yes, it does happen both ways.
Yeah.
Whoever the fuck is tired, that means that there's no consent and the other one can't pressure the first one.
And I quickly want to move into that one because yes, it does happen both ways. In my case, like, and it has everything to do with ego, because I know how that feels. Like, I have a high sex drive, and I've once dated someone who wasn't aligned, like wasn't even close to how high my sex drive is. And I felt so rejected every time he said no, partly because I was always taught that guys have a high sex drive. So if he doesn't want to have sex with you, he doesn't like you, which is a lie, obviously, a big fat lie. And then secondly, it doesn't feel nice to be rejected. So I know how that feels. Like, I know how the ego thing comes into play, where you're like, but I want to have sex with you and you should see that as a compliment. And why don't you want to have sex with me? So I get where that's coming from, but that's just not how it goes. If someone doesn't want it, don't like wait for them to come to you.
There can be so many factors.
Exactly.
There can literally be so many factors. Someone between being tired to being sore or whatever it is, like, or just not wanting themselves.
Exactly.
Or being afraid to not be able to come, or that kind of stuff, like with the partners. And it's just like, I'm not in the headspace. I know I'm overthinking because of work or whatever it is, or money issues.
Exactly.
Then I know I'm going to struggle, and then you're going to feel bad if I don't come. And it's just like, so let's just not do it. Like, it can be anything.
There can be so many things. Yes, exactly. And you have to respect when someone says no. And I know it's going to hurt your ego in the, like, at the start, but accept it. Just take it. Like, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Okay, enough singing.
That was well done, actually. I'm impressed. I didn't know she could do this.
Oh my God, this should be a musical episode. No kidding. We are not making this a musical episode. So
I did. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that, like, I was gonna question why consent is so hard, but I feel like we already answered that because
I want to talk about the stripping.
Remember? Oh yeah, talk about the stripping.
I thought you would miss. Yeah, that's why I was just like, so I actually, it's fine. It's gonna be my confession next time, but I quit stripping, and all of us in the strip club have either been raped, sexually assaulted, controlled by a man, or like something that has to do with consent. Mm-hmm. We all end up there because this is our way to heal, and reclaim our power through making money. Sometimes it's not even about the money. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's because some of them hate men. And sometimes it's just because they need, like for me, it was, I needed to heal about, I could not even look a man in the face. Like when I first started, like literally I would be on stage and I actually did not put my contacts on, so I would not see anyone. Like, this is how bad that was. Like, I could not talk to people. There is not one girl there that hasn't been like broken or something. And we're seen as these like high sexual beings that are going to be like a good fuck. And we just want to play men and all that stuff. It's like, when I started, I had an sex for a year. And then I actually got played by someone and I went into another year because I still was not okay with that list that I just burned. Basically, I just didn't know what I was holding on to that, but there was something that was just not okay. And so that's why I needed to be like, I'm reclaiming my virginity, whatever it is. And I'm just doing nothing. And most of these girls talking about it, I thought I was the only one because I had the same internalized misogyny that like men would think like, we're all high sexual beings. Unless they've already had a partner when they started, the ones that are single are not doing anything. They're the same. They're healing from their experiences, and we haven't had sex for ages.
Yeah.
Because this is such a big job where we're using our energy to make money, and we're healing from how we've been treated in the past, most likely through not listening to us, not giving consent.
Yeah, exactly. So basically reclaiming the consent in a safe environment. Just knowing how it feels to only do stuff that you want to do because you are in the club, basically. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's exactly what it is. A lot of them are like, this is the only place that I felt safe, because they're security guards. There are what's it called, controllers. So basically you're on stage, some of different, depending on the strip clubs. I'm not doing a whole thing, don't worry, but like some of them you get naked, some of them you don't, you never like show everything. But then if you go in a lap dance room, there are rules where they're allowed to touch you, but there are rules, which means they can't sexually assault you. And most of them are the most respectful. And so it's like, I'm disconnected to my body because of everything that happened to me in the past. So I don't care if you touch my boobs or you touch my ass, because you can't touch anything else. You can't violate me. I'm making money out of you from you enjoying the experience of my sexuality, which is fake.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is? You say there are rules. There are rules in this setting.
Yeah.
But there's rules in real life as well.
But just don't know them because no one teaches them. Yes,
exactly. There's rules in real life as well. And that is what I hope that people take from this episode. There are rules and they're super easy. So now I think we should like conclude everything in kind of showing like, okay,
how do you make sure it
is
the
sexy,
content keeps going all the way through?
All the way through, and how content keeps being sexy, because a lot of people will kind of consent while not content. Lol.
That's cool. I got you.
Because a lot of people will link consent to something that is like, yes, do you want to have sex with me? And it's a mood killer, but it really isn't. There is nothing more sexy than asking, even that simple way. I did a post about it before, like how can you ask consent in a sexy way?
I love that.
There's so many ways to ask in a sexy way. Like, do you like this? Do you want to feel me inside you? Do you want me to come? Do you want, like, you can ask all these things, or you can even tell someone, tell me what you want.
Yeah. Is this okay?
Is this okay? Explain to me what you want. Yeah, it is so easy to ask for consent, but I feel like there's such a big dark cloud over it that a lot of people don't know. But the easiest way to ask for consent that can still be sexy: tell me what you want. Do you like it like this? Do you want me to go any further? Do you want to feel me inside you?
Tell me what you like.
Tell me what you like. Exactly.
People are scared because it's the whole like intimacy thing, or showing what you like, or saying what you like to someone, not being liked or being rejected, or someone thinking it's weird because there's such a taboo around sex and like we're all in this together kind of thing. So it just promotes or like contributes to this whole rape culture. Let's just not talk about it and see if everyone is like
is in line. Yeah.
Let's just switch position and try new things and not talk about anything and hope for the best. Let's just hope for the best. I think this is what most people do, because men are afraid of confrontation just as much as we do, most likely. And so it's like, let's hope for the best.
Let's hope it works out for the best. And then for men, a lot of the time it does, because, well, they are have the upper hand in this case, most of the time. So yeah. For women, it doesn't turn out for the best most of the time. So yeah, I hope that clears something up, and I hope that you all are going to practice with those ways of asking consent, and still do that when you are in a relationship, when you've had sex with someone for a long time. Try to just talk about it and ask what they like, what they want to do, but also try to practice saying what you want. Also for men, and say out loud what you want to do.
Yeah, because that's on the individual. But I do want to add, take responsibility when you hear your mates talk about their experiences, joking around. It promotes boy will be boys and rape culture. Those jokes are not okay. And like talking about it with your friends is a safe space, I guess. And then you can know how to do what Lily said and just like, hey, do you like this? Let's keep going, that kind of stuff. Because I've talked with partners recently or whatever, and it's just kind of like, it doesn't feel like anyone knows what they're doing. And it like feels like this whole subject is making it very makes everyone uncomfortable. Like the bad guys are doing this, but the thing is everyone is doing this. The nice guys are doing this. There is no bad guy, or like there is actually, like there's the one that knows what they're doing, but all the ones that don't know what they're doing, they're nice guys. They're your friends, they're your boyfriends, and they just don't know what consent means. And that's what's scary, and that's what hurts us, because we're not taught to say no either, and that fucking sucks.
So basically, in conclusion, for everyone, both men and women, learn how to talk about it. Like, say what you want, say what you don't want. Maybe focus more on the say what you want, because that, I feel like that's easier. So
learn what you want, say what you want. Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe.
And
even that way.
Make sure that it's all the way through. So make sure that when everyone you change, is comfortable
at every stages.
Exactly. So when you're kissing, doesn't automatically mean that you're going to do oral sex. It doesn't automatically mean that you're going to have sex in general. So like, keep the consent all the way
through. Sometimes
a
makeout session is enough.
Is that just
nice
that?
Enough.
Exactly. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. I thought it was refreshing to talk about, and I hope you did too.
Yeah, me too. And I hope it made some of you feel like
you're not
seen
alone.
or understood. And I know we did go a little bit everywhere, even though we tried keeping it straight as much as we could. We're gonna need to put a trigger warning on that one. But I do 100%. Feel like that was good to do for me as well. And like I'm hoping for you too.
Absolutely. And I hope that everyone listening learned something, and let us know in the comments what you took out of this. And we hope to see you next week. Please make sure to subscribe to or follow our Spotify or wherever you listen to this podcast. And then we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yay.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.